Rumors are that allegedly Carlos King has gone too far. What did he do? And how do fans feel about it? Well, I have some new information that may answer all of those questions and more right after this. What's up, kinfolk? And welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, do me a favor and subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, do me a favor and get notified, so you'll know whenever I upload new videos to the channel. All right, kinfolk, come on into the house. We have a lot to talk about, and it centers around rumors that allegedly Carlos King has gone too far when it comes to the Real Housewives of Atlanta franchise. What did he do? And how do fans feel about it? Well, I have some new information that may answer all of those questions and more. And here it goes. Fans of Real Housewives of Atlanta are becoming increasingly frustrated over what appears to be an unhealthy fixation on the Real Housewives of Atlanta franchise. A source said Carlos's unusual and unhealthy fixation on weekly critiques of Real Housewives of Atlanta has started to worry some fans. Why is that? The source continued. First, Real Housewives of Atlanta is in the middle of a very weird time for the franchise. Ratings aren't their best, and it looks like Carlos is trying to kick the ladies while they are down in the ratings. His unwarranted commentary is really doing a number on how some people are perceiving this season, said the source. The source continued. Secondly, it appears that Carlos is trying to influence franchise decisions regarding Real Housewives of Atlanta by suggesting much-needed changes and recommending which ladies should allegedly be let go. And last, ended the source, Carlos's continued obsession with Kandi has made it clear that he probably wants the rock of the show, Kandi, let go so that he can divide and conquer from the outside looking in. But the question is his alleged plan working? And can he be stopped? Well, a celebrity insider said, rumors are that allegedly Carlos has had it out for the Real Housewives of Atlanta franchise since being let go or resigning, whichever rumor you believe, after the Kandi Dungeon scandal. Allegedly, he feels he was made the scapegoat, and he probably thinks that Kandi was the reason for his firing or him being forced to resign, allegedly. The insider continued, although that rumor was never proven true, it appears Carlos has made it up in his mind and his mission to try and end Kandi's Real Housewives of Atlanta reign, just like the way his reign was ended. Another source said, many fans are simply tired of Carlos's attacks and unwarranted opinions regarding Real Housewives of Atlanta. I understand he's a YouTube gossip blogger, but it would seem like he would want to spend more time promoting his own shows than bashing others, ended the source. One fan commented on social media, Carlos is losing me as a fan. I hate how his criticism of the show has turned nasty. As a former producer and as an alleged friend of some of the ladies who are still on the cast, one would think he would be giving words of advice instead of words of shade. Another fan commented, I just wish he would leave our ladies alone. They did just fine the seasons after he left and after the seasons that Nene left. And I do believe they will continue to do well even after the ladies' attempts to discredit all of their hard work to restore the ratings. Now, kinfolk, there's a lot of information regarding this rumor and these critiques about Carlos. It's been floating around social media these last couple of weeks. But as always, we're going to take parts of this rumor. We're going to break them up. And we're going to see which parts we can see as being factual and which parts we can see as not being factual. Now, I will say this. The first thing about this rumor that I find very weird about Carlos is this. I think the issue for a lot of people is that Carlos is in a very weird place right now. He is a producer, YouTuber, podcast host, and when you put those three arenas together, it creates this area of ambiguity or ambiguity. My fault, kinfolk. I'm trying to pronounce the word, but it gives you this era of like this gray area. In other words, it's like we're not too much sure or too sure what his lane is or what his angle is or what he's trying to accomplish. You know, as a producer, a lot of fans think that he should just be concentrating on the shows that he's producing and then using his YouTube platform to promote those shows so he can get more views on that show. And also use his podcast the same way to highlight his many projects and his many shows and the cast members on those shows the same way Kandi has done with her YouTube channel and her other media outlets. So with that being said, it seems as if Carlos has really muddied the waters a lot. And when the waters get muddy, it leaves fans very confused. And when people are confused, they tend to lash out at what is confusing them. Now, I will say this. You know, I've seen some of Carlos's YouTube videos and heard some of his podcasts and some of his interviews. Now, me personally, I think that when he does critique the ladies, he does come off in a very knowledgeable way as of like, this is the issue and this is how you all can fix it. Now, I will say there have been plenty shady moments while he has been giving that advice, but it seems like the shade is sometimes wrapped up in solid advice. However, the issue is, if he's speaking from a producer standpoint, then people can understand that. But it seems that he's always speaking from a YouTuber standpoint when criticizing the ladies. And when you're criticizing the ladies from that standpoint, this tends to happen. What happens when you start critiquing the ladies from a YouTuber standpoint, it's like you almost have to have this certain level of salaciousness to get people going, to get people talking, to get people tuning in. And so what happens is you tend to say things or allude to things that you probably wouldn't normally do when you're speaking from the knowledge of a producer. You probably would hit them with just clear facts on how reality TV shows should be produced, and then you leave it alone. But the slick shade, the undertones of shade, and the slick remarks, you know, as a YouTuber, you're expected to do those things. So then that is what leaves fans feeling kind of weird and kind of frustrated, because it seems as if he's trying to kick the ladies while they're in a brief moment down in their ratings. And for all we know, that may not even be his intent or his purpose. But when it's coming from a YouTuber host perspective, it seems as if those words get lost in translations, or those ideas or those helpful ideas get lost in the shade of a YouTuber's commentary. But nevertheless, kinfolk, I do think that is one of the reasons why this rumor seems a bit realistic to a lot of people. Now, kinfolk, is another part of this rumor that I do find very interesting, and it has to do with Carlos and his current fan base. And I think that this is something that could happen if he continues to go down this road of critiquing the ladies in this manner. And it's this. Carlos, as it stands, really does run a risk of alienating a lot of Real Housewives of Atlanta fans who may also be Love and Marriage Huntsville and Love and Marriage DC fans. You know, it is not too far-fetched to believe that these are crossover audiences, especially with Sheree and Martell and their brief love affair being highlighted or talked about on Love and Marriage Huntsville, allegedly. So with that being said, you do get a lot of crossover appeal from different fans, and particularly from Real Housewives of Atlanta fans who may have been admirers of the way Carlos produced reality TV when he was with Real Housewives of Atlanta. But as we all know, Real Housewives of Atlanta fans are like no other. They are extremely protective of those ladies. I mean, extremely protective. And it seems like whenever it seems as if someone from the outside, whether it's a former cast member, former producer, or whoever, is trying to discredit the ladies and their hard work, or trying to come at them in a very shady way, they always go into attack mode and defense mode. And what could happen is they could see Carlos as the enemy if it's not his intent or not. And they might just stop watching Love and Marriage Huntsville and Love and Marriage DC because they feel like he is not on their side. He is not Team Real Housewives of Atlanta. Because as you know, Carlos had a lot of goodwill with the fans of Real Housewives of Atlanta. The first crack in ratings, that first season that Kenya wasn't on, a lot of people were talking about how they need to get Carlos back. You need to call Carlos. Bravo needs to get Carlos back. And so it was seen then that Carlos was seen as a valuable asset to a lot of fans. And I think he should keep that goodwill and try to keep that standing with the fans so that he could rely on them, whenever he needs a boost in his ratings for his other reality TV show programs. But Kim folk, I want to know what you think. Now, given all this information, and I'm sure some of you have seen some of Carlos's lives or interviews, podcasts, or YouTube videos, do you think his critiques of Real Housewives of Atlanta, do you think they're shady? Or do you think that he means well and is really trying to help out the franchise to grow in ratings? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Alright, Kim folk, as always, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. And I see you guys over on the next one. Peace.